Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's conference call. Reminder to everybody to keep it on stop video. I will unmute you. I'll let you know if it's your turn to ask a question. Very proud today to have Ken Holland, our president of hockey operations, general manager of the Edmonton Oilers, but also as of yesterday at about 2:30, member of the Hockey Hall of Fame class of 2020. So really happy to have him on board. First question, we'll go with Adam Cook.
Thanks very much, Ken. I guess you had some time to think about the potential of getting the call, but when it finally happened yesterday, did it mean more to you than maybe you previously thought? I mean, you've spent your life in hockey, and for this to finally happen, I wonder just what the night was like for you last night.
Hi, Adam. I was totally shocked. I knew that it was the Hockey Hall of Fame induction week. I hadn't been. I knew there was a lot of speculation on who was going to go in. Obviously Jerome McGinley, first time up, and so I wasn't. I hadn't thought about it. And yesterday about 1 o'clock, the phone rang. It was a 403 number. I didn't know where it was. And I answered the call, and it was Lanny McDonald. And at that point in time, it clicked that Lanny was calling me for a reason. And, an amazing moment. And when we were done, I talked to my wife and quickly had time to call our 4 children and let them know before it went out on Twitter and stuff. And then basically, what I tried to do yesterday is I was basically on the phone or texting till about, 10:30, 11 o'clock last night, all the people that have reached out to me. I got a whole bunch to do today and tomorrow yet. So I've been in the game a long time, and I feel fortunate that I've met a lot of people on the line. They've reached out to me, and I do want to reach back either by text or by call. So lots of texting and lots of phone calls yesterday, today, and I'm probably tomorrow.
Next question to Jason Greger of TSN Radio.
Well, Ken, congratulations. Well-deserved honor. I hope you had a beer or two celebrating. But Ken, one of the biggest reasons to your success was drafting. And as a GM, you have to trust your scouts, right? Especially your European scouts, where you didn't get to see those guys maybe as much. Can you talk about your philosophy and knowing, when to trust the guy, and, how much did they have to sell you on certain players to get you to want to draft them?
Thanks, Jason. Great question. I think exactly what you just said is, yesterday when I got the call and as the day went on, I had an opportunity at times to reflect on all the people, that have impacted and had and been major players in my life and in helping me get the call yesterday. When you go in as a builder, there's scouts, and there's pro scouts and amateur scouts, and there's coaching staffs, and there's administration people. So yesterday I reached out to talk to Jim Nill, who was my assistant manager. We played junior hockey together. He ran the draft for the Red Wings probably about the first 10 years. When I was manager, I got a text. I haven't recalled, but I got a call. Joe McDonnell exchanged texts with Håkan Andersson, who was our European scout, and certainly the drafting that led by Jim Nill, Joe McDonnell, and Håkan Andersson was really a key component, I guess, in us to be able to be in Detroit a playoff team for over 2 decades. And when one, as that group of players, Yzerman and Fedorov and Shanahan and the Russian Five, as their time came, all of a sudden Zetterberg and Datsuk and Cronwell and Hoodler and Philpla and Howard and Eriksson and Franson showed up, and that really was the work of Jim Nill, Joe McDonnell, and Håkan Andersson making the key decision. And I would say to you, Jason, I think it depends where your team is at. When we were in the building mode and in Detroit the last few years, and you get to Christmas time and it looks like you're going to miss the playoffs, you're going to get a high pick. I went back out on the road and I was heavily involved in the draft. When your team is Christmas time, it looks like you're going to be in the playoffs. The time is now. If you're going to pick 20 to 30, you got to count on your people, and I got to work with the coach and be around the team and be prepared for the trade deadline to try to make an addition or two that you think is going to make a difference come playoff time. So I think a lot of it depends on where your team is at, as to what how involved the manager is in the entry draft. And the years that I was in Detroit, certainly we were a playoff team, and many years we were one of the top 5, 6, 7 in the league in points. So I was really relying on Jim Nill, Joe McDonnell, and Håkan Andersson to oversee and run the draft for the Red Wings, and they are key people as to why I got the call yesterday.
Before we go to the next question, just want to remind media on the call, if you want to ask a question, use the raise hand function, and that's by going into the participants section. The next question, Daniel Nugent-Bowman, The Athletic. Go ahead, Daniel.
Ken, congratulations. I'm sure you must be thrilled. It's I'm sure a great day for you yesterday. I'm just curious, you said you got off the phone with Lanny McDonald, or you had a call with Lanny McDonald, and once you put down that phone, who did you think of first? I mean, I know you have tremendous respect for Jim Damolino, but I'm wondering if it was him, or if there's somebody from your childhood or maybe even your junior days that really kind of helped you along the way that you really thought of first.
Well, first was my family. I think about Cindy and I have been married. We just celebrated our 40th wedding anniversary here about end of May, and the early years of scouting, the time away from home on road trips. When you scout in Western Canada, it's not like you go an hour and a half away. I mean, you're on the road a lot. So certainly as I was trying to pursue my passion, Cindy was supporting me back home in raising our kids. And then I think about our 4 kids that I tried to be as many events as possible, the Christmas plays, but I missed a lot of things because I was on the road, and I was trying to impress Neil Smith and Jim Devellano, as they hired me to be the Western Canada scout, to try to, solidify a position as a scout. So those are the first people I thought about. And then, obviously, for me, I was fortunate to work for just, one Mr. Miss Illich, one ownership group, and the family, their passion for the team. They believed in me to hire me as the manager in 1997. Jim Devellano, who was my mentor and really taught me the business. Scotty Bowman, when I moved to Detroit in 1994 as the assistant general manager, got to work on an everyday basis with Jim Devellano and Scotty Bowman. It was going to Harvard for me for hockey, and Jimmy D let me. I ran the draft, and I ran the American League team. So I got to build an American League team, and it got me prepared to build an NHL team down the road. And then obviously I talked about the scouts, and Mark Howe, our director of pro scouting, and there's so many people. But my first thought is about my family, and then obviously the Mike Babcock, Scotty Bowman, Mr. and Mrs. Illich, Jim Devellano, Jim Mill, the people that I worked with really, really close on an everyday basis for long periods of time, were the next group of people that I certainly thought about. And I called a number of them yesterday to thank them for their contribution to me receiving the call yesterday from Lanny.
Next question, as we wait for the mic to get unmuted, should be Ken Daniels.
But what is your greatest accomplishment away from building a team in building the game and changes you've made to the game?
Yeah, thanks, Ken. I think the things that I'm proud of is, I know that for me to become a general manager, people, I think about, in 1985 when Bill Denny, my minor league coach, strongly recommended to Jim Devellano to hire me as a scout, and then what Jimmy D meant to my career. So, you know, what I've tried to do is give back to the game, and I certainly feel proud that, you know, Don Waddell I hired Don Waddell as assistant manager, and Don Waddell is a general manager in the National Hockey League, and Jim Nill, who we played junior with, is now a general manager in Dallas, and I try to, that have been able to try to give back. Certainly, lots of those Red Wing players that did it on the ice. I wanted to, you know, Steve Yzerman stayed in management, and Chris Draper's with the Red Wings, and Kirk Maltby's in pro scouting, and I hired Chris Osgood. So I wanted to try to give back a little bit, and those people that helped me and did it on the ice, I wanted to try to, number one, wanted to win because I thought they were going to bring something to our organization to make us better, but I also wanted to help them like people had helped me along the way. So, you know, as far as the game, certainly I feel very fortunate to be one of the general managers of the National Hockey League. It's been, 23 years now I've been an NHL general manager, to sit in that group and to really have some influence on the direction of the game. You know, I've had some ideas that I've gotten recognition for, and I've had a lot of other goofy ideas that haven't panned out. I've always got lots of ideas, and there's a few good ones, and there's probably lots that aren't so good. But I just feel very, very fortunate that to be a general manager in the National Hockey League for as long as I did. And you know, I loved my run in Detroit, and I feel very grateful to Daryl Cates and Bob Nicholson for giving me an opportunity here to continue to be a general manager in Edmonton. And hopefully my building days aren't done. Hopefully I can have some type of an impact on the Edmonton Oilers organization before I'm done. So I'm grateful for the opportunity of being an NHL general manager, and of all the people that have helped me along the way. And I guess what I've tried to do along the way is give back and try to help some other people that just need an opportunity. Can't help everybody, but I've tried to, try to help some people get their careers going like I was helped.
Next question, Jason Greger, TSN Radio. Just wait, go ahead, Jason.
Ken, when you look at your career, and it's not like there's a waiting period necessarily for the builders, but give me your thoughts, because you've watched a lot of these guys played. Doug Wilson and Kevin Lowe both waited a long time to get in, while Jerome McGinley and Marian Hossa got in on their first try. And I don't know if it makes a difference whether you wait that long or if it's more sweet to get in the first time. But what's your thoughts on those two defensemen in Lowe and Wilson, and what they brought to make them Hall of Famers?
Well, I mean, obviously, in Kevin's, first off, I would say to you, I'm very, it's a thrill to get the call and be inducted, to be nominated and going to be inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame, and then to be able to go in. The people that you're talking about, Kevin and I were on the Canadian Olympic team management team in 2010, and now I'm working for the Edmonton Oilers, and our offices are side by each. And Doug Wilson and I have been managers both for a long time, and when you go to the managers' meetings, if there's some golf, Doug Wilson would be one of the managers that I'll end up in a foursome with. I've gone on a couple golf trips, so I've got a tremendous relationship with Doug. I talked to Doug yesterday. I talked to Kevin this morning, and obviously everybody in Edmonton knows Kevin he's a heart and soul player. He's those. If you're going to win, he won 6 championships, and it's not a fluke that he's been on teams that win 6 championships. He brings character, he brings heart and soul, he brings skill. He's going to be on the ice in key situations of the game, protecting a lead, matchups against the other team's best players. That's how you win. And I know in Detroit, we were looking for you need stars, and then you need players that are going to bring other elements, and that's, I think, what Kevin brought to the game, and played the game a long time, and winning followed him wherever he went. Doug Wilson was one of the elite defensemen of the game. He was mobile, puck-moving guy. He's one of the highest scoring at the time when he was one of the highest scoring defensemen in the league, and he continues to be his statistics continue to be up there. So won a Norris Trophy, mobile, puck-moving defenseman that was a tremendous player in his day. So, you know, I think you'd have to talk to them. I talked to them both yesterday, and they're thrilled. They're whether you get in the first ballot or you got to wait for a while. The honor to hear the call that you're going to go into the Hockey Hall of Fame and you're going to be there forever with the greatest players that ever played the game is an incredible honor. And whether you're in the first ballot or it takes you a while, it's still great.
Next question, Adam Cook. Go ahead, Adam.
Ken, I know you must get asked this periodically, but now you're a Hall of Famer. I thought I'd give it another whirl here. What would you regard as your best or toughest trade that you've ever made?
Well, I would say to you, and I sent a text to him yesterday, you know, in 1997, we won the Stanley Cup, and Mike Vernon won the Conn Smythe Trophy, and I had a 35-year-old Mike Vernon and a 25-year-old Chris Osgood that both wanted to be number ones, and I decided to go with the younger guy, and I traded Mike Vernon for 2 second-round draft picks. I wouldn't do that today. I texted Mike Vernon yesterday, and he congratulated me, and I said I wouldn't do that deal today. I said I'd have you and Ozzy battle it out, and I'd have depth in net. So, you know, I think that you know, I was young, and you know, when you make decisions as a manager, there's reasons why you make the decisions, and you analyze everything. And sometimes you hope that most times they work out, but sometimes they don't. I think as you get more experience, whatever job you do, you look back and you might as you get more experience, you might handle situations differently. So probably that decision of trading, that's one. I think that would be the first move I made. I became manager in early July, and I think that August I traded Mike for 2 second-round draft picks. So probably wouldn't do. I would not. Never mind. Probably I would not do that today. I'd keep the depth in goal, and I'd let the goalies and the coach decide who's going to play. You know, I'd say to you, you know, every decision is tough. You're dealing with people's lives, and as you start to become a manager, trades, you know, you've got to do what's in the best interest of the team, but you still got relationships with those players, and you know, as their whether it's their girlfriend or their wife, and then they've got children, they're part of the family. So, you know, decisions are tough, but you have to make decisions that you think is going to make your team better. And you know, one of the things I've tried to be is patient. I mean, some people might think I've been too patient, but I think patience has served me well, and been more of a positive than a negative. And I just think patience, you know, especially with young players, they need time, and there's all these expectations, and sometimes they need a little bit of time to grow comfortable with those expectations and to develop into their full potential. So that's I don't know if I answered your question, but that's probably the Mike Vernon trade. And then you know, every decision is difficult.
One final question, Daniel Nugent-Bowman, The Athletic. Go ahead, Daniel.
Again, I'd like to end, if I may, on a couple present day topics. So I know there's been a little bit of talk about getting Philip Broberg to attend training camp. I'm just curious where that situation lays, and also if you consider inviting some other non-Condors players, such as maybe Raphael Lavoie or Olivier Rodrigue. And the second topic, if the Oilers are going to open the playoffs against Chicago in the United States, would you have training camp in the United States and not in Edmonton?
First off, Daniel, Broberg is coming. I'm expecting him. He's got a flight booked. I think he'll be Sunday or Monday. He's flying in. He's coming in with some other Europeans. He's going to quarantined for a period of time to get them ready for the July 10th training camp. Rodriguez is also coming. We're gonna start out with 4 goalies in phase 3. I'm expecting that we're gonna take 3 goalies into phase 4, but we want the extra goalie to start, so it's an opportunity for those young kids to get some experience. We are going to hold training camp in Edmonton, just with the uncertainty of everything. You know, all of a sudden now to try to pick a city in the U.S. and go into the U.S. We've got people already booked to fly into. Their flights are booked, and Dr. Naidu and our training staff have got plans on the quarantining and stuff. So we're going to be in Edmonton on July the 10th, and then we still don't know where the hub is, and you have to make plans. So we've decided to hold our training camp in Edmonton, and we will whatever we got to deal with, we'll deal with it. And we're looking forward to getting on the ice July 10th and getting up and running in later July.